Every marriage has 3 rings. The engagement ring, the wedding ring, and the bicker ring. We're here to settle the fights that don't matter and have no winner. It's the 3 Rings Podcast with another new argument.
Well, hello once again. Welcome to another edition of the 3 Rings Podcast. Why are you looking at me like that?
Was weird.
Why was it weird?
I don't know. Why was it weird?
God, okay. Welcome to this week's episode, which is starting off on such a great fucking foot already.
I'm here to push you to be better.
Okay.
That could have been better. It was weird.
Like the time that you did it?
Oh, shut up,
Okay.
Phil.
Yeah. Uh-huh. It's not as
Rude.
easy as it looks, miss. I'm trying to make you better. So, hello, I'm Phil,
I'm Lauren.
and we are married for now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for now.
For now. Yeah, well, shit, you're throwing all sorts of shade at me right from the start. Like, Jesus.
You hurt my feelings.
Okay, but you didn't hurt mine. Like, that's fine. That's how this one-way street goes. But if you can't tell what's going on from the arguing in this podcast, that's what we do. We argue about things that typically don't matter. That kind of mattered, but...
Do you feel like since this all has started, we have argued less at home, or... I kind of feel like we have, because it's like we save it for here.
Yeah, we don't really argue a whole lot at home.
Not anymore.
Yeah, we'll have conversations about the things that we want to argue about.
Yeah, but
and
then we
just,
save
like,
it.
Yeah, we just hold on to it until we're here. Which I don't know.
Build up cases in our head until...
I don't know if like that's actually beneficial or
I think it is.
Healthy.
I mean, it's not like we come here, we argue about anything serious.
That's true. I mean, this week
If it
we're
were
going to be talking about...
serious, then like that would be a very different podcast.
That's
but
very true. I mean, to put things in perspective, like this week we're going to be arguing about what the best cookie is.
yes, so
Yeah, so I mean, like, these are things that they don't matter, but they matter a great deal.
They do.
In the grand scheme of life.
this has been a reoccurring theme for the entire time that we've known you, because when we first started dating, I remember being very weirded out by the fact that you kept packages of Chips Ahoy cookies on your bedstand,
Yeah.
which really creeped me out a little
Why?
bit, because it's gross to eat in bed.
See, that is probably something that we should debate in the near future. Because I feel like there are more people on my side where it's like, it's
You
fine
think
to
there
eat in
are
bed.
more people who think it's fine to eat in bed than people who don't?
Yeah.
No.
I 100%
Ew.
think so.
No way.
Yeah. That's something that we're going to have a
That's
debate about.
we need to, because that's disgusting.
I'm going to write that down so I don't forget it. But this week is about cookies, and more specifically, mass-produced packaged cookies. We're not having the conversation of, homemade cookies versus store-bought cookies or anything
No.
like that. Like, we get it. We understand. Like,
Your Nana makes the best cookies.
yeah, her
whatever.
recipe is like perfection.
Sacred, yeah.
Got it
No.
from somebody named Nestle.
We're talking about, you buy them in like one of those crinkly cartons, and they've got like the plastic sleeves, that
Yeah.
kind of cookies.
Mass-produced shit that you're going to find in any generic grocery store.
Yes.
So,
So
yeah.
we've already kind of spoiled what yours is.
Yeah, mine's no shocker to you, at least, or
No,
anybody
God,
that
no.
really knows me. I think that Chips Ahoy are the best.
And we're
mass-produced cookies.
not talking about the chewy ones. We are talking about the classic blue
blue package Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookies,
And I'm going straight Oreo.
which is strong.
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to get down to the very nitty-gritty small details of cookies.
I guess maybe we'll
All
see.
the ingredients.
I think you should go first though, because I can't explain like how I guess I cannot express how much you really love Chips Ahoy cookies.
I don't think that I can express how much I really love Chips Ahoy cookies, to be perfectly fair.
Like, we pretty much nearly almost always have them in the house.
Yeah. We have
because
2 boxes right now.
Yeah, because you like feel like we're missing something. Like there is like you have a part of you is missing.
Yes.
If we don't have them there.
I think that arguably one of the greatest like treats is to have milk and cookies.
Okay.
And I have never grown out of that. I am a 30-year-old man and I have not grown out of that.
When did you first discover the original Chips Ahoy cookies?
That was a long time ago. It's been years.
Like a child? Were you like a child?
I don't think
or
I was like a child. I think it was more like when I was a teenager.
Oh yeah?
I think. Yeah. I think it was just easier to get all the store-bought like Chips Ahoy cookies because I would eat them like all the time. And it's like, I mean, I would knock out a whole fucking sleeve of these things in a night.
Yeah.
And like no big deal. Sometimes
I still think
like,
you
an entire
could.
thing.
I think
mean,
you could.
I definitely can.
You just stop yourself now.
I pace myself now because I want them to last.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it just became easier just to get all of those because I ate them so often. Yeah. So, I mean, here's my thing when it comes to Chips Ahoy, and this doesn't really factor too much into why it's the best cookie. I think it factors into why it's the best cookie for me. When you dunk a Chips Ahoy in milk and you leave it for the right amount of time, it's still got like a little bit of like crunch to it, but it absorbs the milk, so like it's part of it's chewy, so like you get a whole bunch of texture in it, and all like. It's not like super chewy where it's just gonna. I
wish everyone could see the way that you are describing this, like the
I'm
look
very
of
much
like
talking,
love.
like, with my hands and
but like the
everything,
look
too.
of love in your eyes is like you don't even like you don't look this way when you describe me to people.
And you're not a cookie.
No, I'm not.
You're not.
This is like
Sorry.
the look of like pure delight on your face as you describe a Chips Ahoy cookie is just like really something.
You're welcome. You're welcome for that.
Okay, I think you need to go first.
Okay, so my main 3 points for why Chips Ahoy cookies are the best cookie that, again, mass-produced, store-bought, no homemade shit. We're not having that conversation. The best cookies. Point number 1, it's a classic chocolate chip cookie. You're not fucking around with anything. It's a classic. Point number 2, and I know that this is going to be part of your argument as well because doing my research, I just know. But it is the 3rd best-selling cookie of all time. And I know that, again, it falls behind Oreo, but they're part of the same company. They have the same parent company. So it's filling a void for the company, so it's doing its job.
Okay.
Point number 3, stylistically, Chips Ahoy has more to offer.
Which, like, I think is insane.
Flavors, different. Stylistically,
okay.
A lot more to
You're
offer.
going to have to get into that.
I will.
Okay.
Of course I will. I mean, I'm just outlining the points right here.
Go for it, honey.
All right. So point number 1, it's classic. Chips Ahoy is a classic chocolate chip cookie. So I would say that the majority of people would agree that chocolate chip is probably the most common cookie, probably the most heavily favored when it comes to picking your favorite cookie. I would say a good majority of people are going to say...
I don't know about that.
I think if you poll most people and say, like, what's your favorite kind of cookie, chocolate chip is definitely going to be number 1.
Okay. All right. I don't know, but...
I don't know if it would be leaps and bounds, but it's definitely going to be number 1. So, Chips Ahoy, they had a very difficult challenge in front of them when making a mass-produced chocolate chip cookie that could rival anything that was homemade. Because...
I don't think it does rival homemade.
But here's my thing. When you have the conversation of, like, I want to start making chocolate chip cookies to sell in stores, and you have to pitch that and say, we can do better than homemade.
Here's the thing, too, though. Like, you and I have very different preferences because, like, if I were going to choose a Chips Ahoy cookie, like a chocolate chip cookie, I would want chewy.
So wrong. It's just so wrong. But, okay. That's just trying to throw me off my game. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Okay? So, a difficult challenge that kind of went into everything when starting out. So, and again, I know that this is part of your argument with Oreo being the best-selling cookie. Oreo had a 50-year head start on Chips Ahoy. Okay?
I'm going to get... Yeah, and then this is all playing into my points, but continue.
Well, again, Chips Ahoy going up against homemade chocolate chip cookies, like Oreo was its own thing. Like, you didn't have homemade Oreos. So to go into a market for something that you already had some stiff competition and to now be the third best-selling cookie in the world.
What's the second best?
I don't know if I put who is second and best. I don't think I put it on here.
We'll have to look it up.
Yeah. So, but my point is, Oreo had a 50-year head start. So give any product 50 extra years, and of course they're going to be selling better because they've been around longer. That's just math. Like that's an easy one. But Chips Ahoy, they've been around since 1963. So in just 57 years, it's already third on the list compared to 108 years for Oreo. Plus, this is the main point when it comes to the whole sales thing with, I know like your cookie sells better and all of that, but it's part of the same parent company. So in all of that time where they were dominating the whole cookie game with Oreo, they decided to take a very bold stance and take on homemade chocolate chip cookies, and paid off in a pretty massive way, I would say, with Chips Ahoy. So,
sure, yeah.
Did you find out who was second?
No, I'm looking it up.
Looking it up, and it's going to be something like dumb, like Fig Newton or something. I don't even know.
Gamesa? Gamesa?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
I don't know. Probably sucks, though.
Maybe it's something that we just don't have in the United States, but it's probably popular everywhere else.
There's a good chance of that, yeah.
Games.
Which means it's probably actually really good then.
Probably.
All right. Well, while you're still looking up who the second best cookie is, I will continue. My third point, yes, Oreo has a lot of different flavors. And you can find basically any flavor kind of Oreo. And I will admit that Chips Ahoy has started to dive into that a little bit as well. But the Oreo will always just be an Oreo. It's always...
Disagree.
No, it's always an Oreo. Yeah, you can have double stuffed or triple stuffed.
What can you do stylistically with a chocolate chip cookie that you can't do with an Oreo?
With Oreo? Okay, well, we literally just talked about how there's original and also chewy when it comes to the chocolate chip cookie. But
how is that stylistic? Like, how is that different than...
You don't have chewy Oreos.
But you have, like, thin, you have double stuffed, you have, like, all of the different flavors, like, texture-wise. You could dip them in chocolate, you can deep fry them.
You can do all of these things with Chips Ahoy, too. But
I don't understand how that makes it more stylistically different than Oreos.
Because...
I think you're grasping at straws here.
I don't think that I'm grasping at straws. You have original, you have chewy, but also with all the different, like... You know, exact kind of like what you said with like thin and double stuff and all that. It's still the same basic cookie, but with chocolate chip cookies,
but they have
and
all
with
the
all
different
that
flavors.
Yeah, but also Chips Ahoy is starting to get into that too with different flavors. Flavors aside, I'm talking stylistically. Like original, you have chewy, you have the different kinds of chocolate chips that you can put in. You have like the ones where you
flavors.
Can put
different chocolate chips means different flavors.
Okay. But I'm just saying, like, there are different ways to enjoy a chocolate chip cookie.
I think that you can enjoy an Oreo in the exact same ways.
Again, you don't have chewy
That's
Oreos.
Literally the one difference. Just because you don't have chewy Oreos doesn't mean like that that Chips Ahoy offers more stylistic options.
When it comes to a chocolate chip cookie, there are more ways to make a cookie than there are to make an Oreo.
No.
Yes.
No.
100%.
No.
And at the end of the day, Chips Ahoy has an Oreo stuffed cookie. Does Oreo have a Chips Ahoy flavored?
No, but they don't need to because they've got like 8 billion other flavors. So like I'm choosing Oreo, and my 3 points are it's a classic, number 1.
Fine.
Number 2, they're the best-selling cookie in the United States.
Yeah,
Number 3, variety and creativity is encouraged when eating them. It's like a part of their whole thing. So, number 1. Okay, Oreos were introduced in 1912 versus Chips Ahoy was introduced in 1963. So they've had longer to perfect their recipe. They've just been around longer.
Okay, so they've been around for, again, what did I say? Like
51 years? 51 years?
Yeah, something like that. So
longer.
In that amount of time, Chips Ahoy is third and they're first. So
that means they've been like holding strong. They've like perfected. You can't like mess with perfection. They're like perfect.
Okay. So in 50 years time,
they have come in third. They're not first. They're not even second. Third. Let's see where they're at in another 50 years.
That's what I was trying to say.
Okay, so then Oreos are the best-selling cookie in the United States. Not only is Oreo the best-selling cookie in the world with over $2 billion in annual sales, but it has increased its parent company's net revenue by 2.1%. The brand has also had a massive social media presence and consistently proves to be a brand that understands the medium. They are also vegan and kosher.
Okay.
That means more people can enjoy them. They appeal to a wider audience.
Okay, so they can appeal to a wider audience. They've had a 50-year head start, and Chips Ahoy is still getting pretty close to selling better.
Not pretty close. They still have 2 spots that they need to jump up.
Okay.
They've got a little bit of a ways to go.
Yeah, well, again, give them 50 years.
So, number 3, the variety and creativity encouraged when eating Oreos. So, among the first interactive foods, Oreos allow and in fact encourages consumers to be creative when eating them, from dunking them in milk,
which you do
to
with
twisting them apart,
cookies.
Eating the cream first, or like nibbling it, or gobbling it in a handful. The consumers can take ownership and make eating Oreos into an individual creative experience. There are also as many as 25...
Talk onto your mic.
Sorry.
You're talking off of it.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
There are also as many as 25...
Move the mic if you're going to read it. Thank you.
There are also as many as 25 different varieties of Oreos at any given time.
Yeah,
and I came across a list on Medium that had over 85 flavors listed.
That's too many.
No, they all do them well. Like, they're all good.
No, they're not.
Most of them are good.
That, I think, is still a stretch, too. I would say maybe half of them are good.
Like, what flavors have you tried that you didn't like?
I know that they made a candy corn flavored
They were fine.
Oreo.
They were good.
They were atrocious. They were disgusting. And again, just because you have more flavors and because you put all these things out doesn't mean that they're going to be that good.
Well, you wanted to talk about stylistic options. How do you top that?
Again, it's not like you don't have a fucking chewy Oreo. I'm just I don't know how I could explain this point.
That is the one thing that you keep bringing up, is the fact that there's not a chewy Oreo. Literally, that's the only thing that you keep talking about that Chips Ahoy has that Oreo doesn't.
It's the same basic structure as an Oreo, is the filling wafer like that.
They have the thin kind. They have the double stuffed.
So you're just changing the size. You're
changing the texture. Like, what? I don't understand. I literally don't understand what you're arguing here. I don't think you understand what you're arguing here.
I understand what I'm arguing. I'm saying that
all you keep saying is there's no chewy Oreo. There's no chewy Oreo.
The cookie can change. The
Oreo
is still
has
the basic
85 different flavors.
I'm talking about flavors. I'm talking about how it's structured and how it.
At the end of the day, the chocolate chip cookie is still just cookie and chocolate chips, just because the texture is different. I don't understand what you're saying.
Texture is a big part of that, though. but also when you're talking about your Oreo, it's still going to be the same crunchy wafer with the filling. Doesn't matter how much filling there is or how thin or thick the
No, that's
wafer
not true.
is.
The texture changes depending on the thin, like how thin or thick it is.
I don't think it does. I think it just makes it bigger or smaller.
No, that's wrong. The thin ones have a different texture than the regular ones.
I don't know. I don't eat Oreos, so
Oh my god.
I'd rather get a good cookie.
Oh my god. The the stats say that Oreo is a good cookie.
Oreos are fine. Deep fry some Oreos, yeah, I'm on board.
Talk about ways to change the texture of the Oreo.
But again, you can deep fry a chocolate chip cookie too. You could deep fry Chips Ahoy cookies.
Whatever.
Like, you could dip chocolate chip cookies in anything, as well. Like, I mean, that's not part of the art.
I have numbers on my side,
Okay.
which you like to bring up whenever we also
you also
like
have
talk
a
about
50-year head start.
more time to perfect the recipe.
Okay. Also, how many people are making homemade Oreos?
I don't know.
Not as many as people are making homemade chocolate chip cookies.
Okay, whatever.
So, talk about
Let's
competition.
wrap this up.
Yeah. I want to get some cookies.
Okay, go for it. Close it out, babe.
Okay. Well, since I'm trying to just compose myself at this point, chime in on social media. Let us know what you're thinking about the best cookie. Is it Oreo? Is it Chips Ahoy? Is it something completely different? Is it that second best-selling weird-ass cookie that we couldn't figure out? Or is it something completely different? And if you say homemade, I'm going to block you immediately on the page because this is not part of the argument. Homemade does not count for any of this. But go and follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram at 3ringspod, THREE Rings Pod, and go and like us and all of that. Chime in on the conversation. And while you're at it, all the other sites that you can listen to everything, I guess, through the website, through Apple Podcasts, rate us, review us, share us with your friends. Through Spotify, you can do the same. On YouTube, you can do the same. We're basically everywhere, so you really have no excuse to not be listening because there is a platform for everybody. Okay? So go and listen to past episodes, chime in on this episode, and we'll be back next week talking about more music-themed for next week. Are you going to chime in at any point here?
What?
I was waiting for you to chime in at any point there. You're just on your phone.
Yeah, sorry. I got distracted. There's a Dr. Pepper shortage. I just thought you'd want to know.
Yes, I'm fully aware.
Okay. I was looking out for your best interest.
Okay. That was like a week ago.
Oh. Well, I've been late, so.
Actually, like 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that I think about it. I posted a blog about it.
Oh, I missed it.
Okay. Jesus Christ. All right, we're going to go. Next week, we're going to be talking about one-hit wonder songs, so we're going to be having some fun next week.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to another weekly episode of the Three Rings Podcast. We'll be back next week with another new argument. In the meantime, follow us on all social media platforms at 3 Rings Pod. Join in the argument and tell us who's right, who's wrong, or why you have the right answer. Whatever. Just tell us stuff.